This video is going to be about this table, which was going to the trash, and trying to turn this into something useful. The wood itself is actually an older style of lamination. It is poplar with mahogany on either side. So I took a piece to the table saw and tried to rip off about 4 inches. Not sure exactly the measurement, but brought it over to the bandsaw and just basically trying to take off about 5 millimeters. You can see here that there is a lot of internal tension in the board, but it came off pretty even. I did want to surface it just a little, not necessarily to get it to a final thickness specifically, but to take the variability off of it so that when I do put it in the laser cutter, it is going to be even. My previous cut was actually a slab of maple for a friend whose tree came down. He wanted something to remember the tree by, so I turned it into something with a maple. So here you can see I've pinned it into the thunder, but the tension in the board actually allows me to leave it with only 2 pins on either end, which was a mistake, as you'll see. Here in Cuttle, I'm identifying the material thickness for the floating tenons that will hold it together, and downloading both of the files that I'm going to try to get out of this board. Back to Lightburn, I'm going to be dragging the files down once I clean up the layers and get them all lined up. This is really just procedural. If you're familiar with Lightburn, it's pretty straightforward, but I've got the camera in the system there and kind of just getting things lined up on the board. I didn't know the settings exactly, but had a pretty good idea with a poplar core and at this thickness what it was going to take, and it did end up cutting through without any issues. Initially scoring some of the details. It's an interesting finish on this. It's pretty thick, kind of a glossy, and the laser didn't seem to struggle too much cutting through it. Didn't really produce very much smoke. So this is the mandala side. I think you can see kind of working through it, but there that tension shows up, and that was very nerve-wracking because the head is eventually going to go back over there. I ended up having to pause it here and then reposition everything, put more tabs down, and these are the final cuts. Taking care of that. Everything kind of cut through pretty well, so a little bit of loose bits coming out, just stack them up. The hummingbird ended up coming out pretty nicely. This one's the mandala, so I'll build the mandala first. I have floating tenons there in the center, and then I put glue at each of the holes that the laser cut. Those holes are cut specific to the tenons. The tenons are cut specific to the faces. That's something that I can do in Cuttle for sort of the parametric design that I have in there. The process here is to put 3 tabs, I should say 2 tabs, on each side. Well, you'll see in the second one, but the first piece gets tabs on all 3 sides, the second piece gets tabs on 2 sides, and the third piece only gets tabs on the bottom. And then they all fit together. Look pretty good overall. So doing it again with the hummingbird, put glue on all the sides, all the tenons go in. The hummingbird, which is the front face on this design, ends up getting tenons on all 3 sides. The next is going to get tenons on just the 2 sides, and then finally just 2 tenons on the bottom. These are typically pretty easy to line up, and these ones were no exception. They came together pretty well. If you need to get your fingers in there to straighten out a tenon, you can do that. This bottom one can be a little tricky, but you just use the light access hole, and that works out just fine. So here it is finished. I also make a custom light stand that fits flush inside, and then it just powers off of a USB. A couple more pictures here with a darker background, and you can see it ends up casting light into the location where you have it. And these came out looking really nice. I've got a lot of material to work with, given there's the remainder of the table. But thanks for watching.